to the Average Sports Guys podcast with Eddie and Marcus.
We're back, episode 2.
Yes, sir.
Average Sports Guys podcast. Like I said, episode 2 today is March 26th. Man, this month is flying by. Hey, Marcus, why don't you go ahead and pitch the website?
Bruh, we just finished the website this weekend. It is averagesportsguys.com.
It's money.
You can go there. You can follow us on any major social media account. And
That's
you can
Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube,
everything. So you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at MarcusASG23.
and you can find me on Twitter at EddieASG12. So, man. All right, well, let's just get into it. Marcus, man, what you been up to since the last time, we did a little something?
As I'm a teacher, I'm a teacher, and, it's just the time of year we're just getting you kids ready for, testing and things like that. So I've been just doing a little bit of park prep because, I'm a math teacher, 6th grade math.
Yeah, man, my hat is off to you because numbers and kids, having 3 is enough.
Yeah, I hear that. And it's one of those things where, sometimes, throughout the long day, you got to find ways to make, especially math, interesting. And one way I try to do it is using, statistics and stuff from sports that I talk about on here on this podcast.
No doubt.
And it's one of those things where I try to make connections, especially with a lot of my boys through sports. Like I told a kid I was an Eagles fan, and, this kid shows up literally like the next day with an Eagles hoodie, and he's been wearing it all week. Like, I swear, like, I don't even think the kid washed it, know? So it's just one of those things.
That sounds like my son. Cameron.
Yeah.
Man, that little dude, his friend the other day, I think it was a couple weeks ago, gave him a sweater. Uh-huh. So it's like a Jordan sweater. Or
right.
Man, you would have thought they painted it on his body. I was like, man, go take that thing off. He's like, no, I mean, I haven't been wearing it. I said, man.
Bruh.
Look. You look like a ragamuffin. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. And I think that's the key to the whole thing, especially when it comes to not just conversations with kids, but conversations with people. It's just, building that relationship. And I try to do that with my students through the vehicle of sports and, getting this math curriculum across.
Hey, man. Hey, however they get it,
however they get it.
You probably, like me, probably didn't have the most interesting or entertaining teachers, let alone math.
I had teachers that straight up told me that I wasn't going to be good at math. How about that? Like, yet alone teaching it.
Right.
So it's one of those things where it's like,
look at me now.
Look at me now. I just take it as a personal, a personal, goal is to, make kids better at math, and things of that nature. We're both married, so spend a little bit of time with the wife, doing, stuff around the house and, just figuring out, what's going on with our summers, these trips coming up. And I know you're going to Hawaii.
Man, I'll be putting all my business out there. No, I'm just joking. Man,
you're going to Hawaii. I'm going to Thailand, and, we just like to travel, and you're trying to get this stuff done while we're young. So, matter of fact, let's segue into talk to us about you. What's going on with you, dude?
It's the same old going to work.
Right.
Long commute in the DC area.
Yes, sir.
Anybody who's been here for 15 minutes can understand that.
I get it.
Just normal daily grind, dealing with, the kids and everything else that goes along with it. Mm-hmm. Just normal stuff. We were actually planning, I told you in the backyard we're going to move, push that fence out.
Yes, sir.
So we were talking about putting a pool back there and some other stuff. So, we've been kicking some ideas back and forth about that. So it's probably been like the biggest thing, at least since the last time,
right?
We've been here.
Yes, sir.
Laying it down for everybody.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, other than that, no. Hey, the weather has been nice.
Well, except for the one day,
right? Yeah, yeah. I was about to put the cart before the horse, but I was like, man, I don't remember what day it was, but it was warm enough. Because we were out on the back. I remember I had texted you.
Yeah.
Sunday? Yeah, it was Sunday.
It was Sunday.
Yeah, man. So we were out there, straightening up the backyard and everything. So I was like, man, I came up out my sweater. I was like, oh. so I look over at Chrissy. I was like, man, is it
spring yet?
Oh yeah, I was like, man, it's about that time. start booking these tea times. And I gotta get the rust out of them clubs.
Yeah, man, get your Tiger on.
Hopefully. I mean, believe it or not, man, like as much as I like to play golf, clearly I don't like to watch golf. Like when I'm with my dad, I'll watch golf, you know what I mean? Because that's his thing.
Right.
We might as well just call it watching Tiger.
Watching Tiger. That's basically what it is. We watch golf. It's because Tiger's doing well. That's why we all watch golf. That's the only reason.
Right. So, but I do enjoy playing. But believe it or not, I actually, man, I don't even remember the last time I swung a club. I want to say it was well over 2 years ago. Right. So we got Cameron some clubs.
Nice.
For Christmas.
Nice. School that man.
So, yeah. So I'm going to get him out there. Like I said, it's warming up. But like I said, other than that, man, it's just been same old grind, same old grind.
Same old.
So, man, speaking of what have we been doing as of late? Man, what you been watching? What's going on in the Williams household?
Man, look, we've been watching a lot of this. I guess you can call it a TV series called Widowed. It's on.
I never heard of it.
My wife came home one day and she said we have to watch this. It's one of those. I guess you can call it like mystery thriller type shows where you're literally just in suspense the whole time because it has to deal with a husband who was in an alleged plane crash and disappeared. And
okay, so it's wait. So is it like acting or based on like a real? It's
acting. It's not. It's just straight up drama.
Okay, I didn't know if it was like a documentary. Everybody's
everybody's on their documentary stage right now. But yeah, it's just literally just this guy who disappears, leaves his wife for 3 years. She goes to Africa, like kills 4 guys, finds them, and it turns out that has another family. It's a whole mess. But yeah, Widowed is definitely that series that's pretty legit. And we're on our like latest episode. That it might be the end of the season. I don't know, episode 7. So I'm probably gonna leave here and then watch that tonight.
What speaking of watching tonight, we got our show that comes on every Tuesday. This is Us. All I have to do is get the tissues ready for her.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's automatic.
Get some snacks and a drink for me.
Yes, sir.
And yeah, I mean, but it's a great show.
It is a good show because we watched that too. My wife's in love with Randall. I just hope we never run into this man on the street.
Right.
We're gonna cross that street and keep it pushing. But yeah, it's a really good show. It's definitely relatable to a lot of families and a lot of the situations that they go through. So I totally get it.
Yeah, and then we've been so I hate this stupid show. It's American Idol, right?
Oh, dude.
It was the same thing with what's that? The one that just ended. The
America's Got Talent?
No, it's the one, The Masked Singer.
Oh, The Masked Singer.
So
I like that show.
Yeah, so it sucks, right? I like it. I mean, it just does.
Right.
But it pulls you in.
It keeps you in suspense because you want to know who's behind that mask.
Who is under that pineapple? You know what I mean?
Right.
Who's the hippo? Who's the monster? Yeah. So, you know what I mean? So that's how I feel about American Idol. I mean, I was in it when, not in it because I can't sing, but what I'm like, I was into it back when it first came out.
Right.
I used to watch it with my parents, my sister.
Right.
Blah, blah, blah. You grow up. The show is old. It's played out to me. So moved on. But last season we started watching it. And then there's nothing else on, really.
Nothing else
on.
So
we started watching that. I think it started a couple weeks ago. And then my all-time favorite show is The Walking Dead. This last episode had my blood pressure through the roof.
God bless you, because I was so angry when I used to watch the show. I used to be on that like, man, what was it, like every Sunday that they put? Bro, when they killed off Glenn, when Lucille took Glenn out, I was done. I said no more. This man came back from like cancer and death. And you're just going to sit there and Ken Griffey his head off with Lucille. Right. I couldn't do it. I said, you know what? That's tugging at my heartstrings. I can't do it no more.
Yeah. So my friend Jonathan, it was the same thing. And he used to be like, boy, if they kill my man Glenn, I'm done with this show. I was like, come on, man. And so, yeah, and I haven't checked back in with him, but I'm pretty sure he has not watched since then either.
Right.
So I used to be like that. I was like, man, if they kill my man Rick, it's
over.
Yeah, because Rick get that look in his eye, like somebody gonna die today.
Somebody's dying today,
right? So I was like, man, well, if Rick goes, that's the show.
That's the whole show. They ain't gonna kill Rick.
Rick gone. Right? So I mean, hey, whoever isn't up on the current episodes, tough.
Spoiler alert.
Rick gone.
Rick gone.
So they fast forward like 6 years or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I'm hooked on that show. It doesn't matter. Come hell or high water, I'm gonna watch that show.
I'll tell you what, it is very well directed. It's very well organized. It's very well plotted. It's a great show.
Oh yeah, yep. So I was watching that one. I knew something was gonna happen, something big, because it's just been like kind of pulling you along the last couple episodes. So I was like, man, it's John boring. I was like, come on, man, get into it. Man, they didn't kill a whole bunch of people. I was like, oh no,
it was offing everybody.
Yeah,
everybody catching one.
Man, I was like, I told my wife, I said no. I was like, I know I no, but hey, they did. So anyway, so yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what I'm watching. When did we go? So we ended up going to see Us.
Yes,
that
sir.
was on. When did we go? Saturday.
We went and saw that Saturday.
Yo, that was pretty good.
It was a dope movie, but I think we both made the mistake of comparing that to
Get Out.
Get Out,
which I think is only natural because same director, and same genre.
Genre.
You're going to compare it. Now, once you got your butt in that seat and you were watching it, and nothing to do with the other ones, nothing like it.
No.
What goes through that man's head is beyond me. Genius.
He's a genius. It's crazy.
Because there's so much of that movie you can miss. Now, we're not going to spoil it or anything like that, but there's so much of that movie that you can miss if you're not paying attention.
You have to pay attention to every part.
I'm fat. I was worried about my popcorn. And then I already told you, and everybody out in podcast land, if you don't know, you're about to now. I'm a, when it comes to scary movies, I don't care. I don't try to hide it, whatever. So I told Marcus, I said, man, you trying to go see that movie? I was like, hey, it was something to do. My wife was out of town visiting family. Yours was busy.
People, you don't understand the level of like disclaimer. Like this dude had a full like TV disclaimer to not watching any horror films. Like he just broke the whole situation down. And I was like, dog, we still got to see it though.
But yeah, man, I've been that way since
I see it though.
Yeah, since I was a kid. I mean, you ask my mom, I'm not playing. And some gets a little too serious. So when I was a kid, I used to cover my eyes and turn and all that stuff. And I said, man, like you getting older, like you grown, like you. So what I do now,
you got bills,
especially in the theater,
right?
I won't like look away or try to look scared. I'll be so subtle with it, like because the music or whatever, like oh man, there's something about to jump out,
something about to pop off.
If I don't feel like being scared, I just look down,
right?
But my head is still straight. But
yeah,
so I mean, so we went into it. I was thinking it was going to be a whole lot, scarier. Was not.
It's a good movie,
but it's a good movie. But I left there with. Like, you're just kind of playing parts of the movie. Like, wait, hold up. So you start thinking about it. And I was like, And then, I did a little reading or whatever. And
I think that lends itself to the genius of this movie, though. It's the fact that you left there thinking, what if, or did I miss something? Or is there going to be another movie? And I think that's the whole genius behind what Jordan Peele does. He always leaves you thinking about the movie. Like you're like, I went home to my wife and was just breaking down each part and why such and such happened. And then, my wife's actually a school-based therapist. So she's going into all, the psychological pieces of the movie and everything. But it's just like, he did it again. Jordan Peele did it again. It's one of those classic thrillers that you need to watch. It's just that well put together. It's that well directed. The cast was amazing.
Oh yeah. From
start to finish, it was a great movie.
Yeah. Hey, shout out to my friend George. He was in the background of that movie.
Facts.
California 831.
There we
That's
go.
Where I grew up. Like I said in the first episode, California. Hey, DC area now all day.
There we go.
So if you're just listening to our podcast for the first time, okay, so we're called average sports guys. Nothing of what we just talked about really had anything to do with sports. So we're going to pivot into that with the state of the NFC East. Marcus, tell us about them Eagles.
So these Eagles, man, I have to give it up to Howie Roseman because last time I looked, we still have the most cap space in our division.
Who Howie Roseman is because, Skins fans, we don't give a damn.
Howie Roseman is a great GM. I think,
I will give him that
because what turned the fire on inside of this guy was him getting put in the corner office, after the whole Chip Kelly situation where he's just, getting rid of everybody and everything and making all these crazy moves and stuff like that. And he had no say in anything. Mm-hmm. I think he came out of that back room, like Jason Kelce said, and said, you know what? We're going to build a championship squad. We're going to make sure we're under the cap. We're going to get the best guys available, and we're going to build a culture of players that want to win and want to be successful. And, and we want to make this whole thing a brotherhood because, Philadelphia is the city of brotherly love and everything. So,
we'll get into that another day.
Right.
Brotherly love, what. That is some false advertising. Anyway,
hey man, I had to throw it in there. I had to put that plug in there. I'm from the area.
Hey man.
But as far as our moves though, we've picked up Deshaun Jackson. We brought him back, but other moves that we have made, we have actually gone out and re-signed Vinny Curry. Mm-hmm. That man was a part of the championship squad. He was a part of the 7-man front rotation, which is great. We re-signed Darby, but the thing about Ronald Darby is, he's coming back from that injury. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure it's an ACL injury, and apparently what happened when he visited, Kansas City, he didn't pass their physical. So, he thought the next best thing, I'm just going to come back to Philly, come back on this 1 year, prove it and show that I still got it. Mm-hmm. And when he was healthy, I want to say about middle of the season on, he did make some like stellar plays. And like I said, he was a part of the championship squad. So we also signed Andrew Sendejo, and in my opinion, he's a good third safety. But the problem with Andrew Sendejo right now, in coming to Philly is the fact that as soon as this guy got off the plane, everybody was talking about how did it feel to get ran over by my man LeGarrette Blount. Like, were you okay? Like,
he's from Minnesota, right?
Yeah, he's from Minnesota. He was a Minnesota Viking. They're just like, so you okay? Were you breathing? Did you need to take a breather? Like, what was going on through your head? Like, did you pull up? Like, what's going on? Like, how does it feel to get ran over by that much of a force?
Oh man!
But he got it for like 3-4 days straight. But in my opinion, he's a good third safety. I think he's an upgrade over Corey Graham. Totally. He likes to, he's a little bit of a ball hawk. He can tackle, just not LeGarrette Blount. He could just, he's just that third guy that if you want to throw some exotic looks at, opposing offenses, that's the guy you're going to bring in as your strong safety. And then you're going to have Malcolm Jenkins drop down and do some crazy things there. But that was a huge pickup.
Get his eagle on.
A little bit. And you drop down and get that eagle on a little bit. So, but I also found out with these Eagles is that they're still talking to Jay Ajayi. And he has, gone out and he's visited, once again, Kansas City. He's visited different teams. I'm pretty sure he's visited the Colts too. But I think what he's doing is trying to, find a decent, number to, sign with a team and play and be able to play for him for a decent, maybe like $7.5 million or something like that. But at the end of the day, he's a running back that's coming off of a back injury and then another knee issue. So it's one of those things where, are you really going to get the money that you're asking for, especially coming off of two, in my opinion, for a running back, 2 major injuries like that? After having previous injuries with, the Dolphins? No, you're not going to get that money. So, I'm pretty sure Howie Roseman was like, hey, man, you can come back here on 1 year, prove it, and then go somewhere else. Because at the end of the day, and we're going to get more into this in later in the episode or later episodes, but we need a running back. That's one of our biggest needs, dude. Like, I get it. We have, Corey Clement. I get it. We have, Josh Adams, who for a period of 4 or 5 games actually showed up. But I think what we need to do to keep Carson Wentz healthy is to have that one guy in the backfield that you have to account for on every play.
Right.
And my last piece of, Eagles news is the fact that J-Mac retired, man.
Yeah.
After 10 seasons, J-Mac is done. And I tell you, he is, in my opinion, one of the best Eagles receivers that in my lifetime that I've ever seen. Dude has these are just Eagle stats, 36 touchdowns, and he has 13 100-yard games with the Eagles.
Oh, wow.
That's a big deal. I remember him and Donovan McNabb and even Djax on the other side, they were just blowing up defenses because he had speed, he had hands, And he was a true number one for us. He was a really good receiver. I really appreciated what he did for our franchise.
Right.
Great guy.
And I disrespect what he did to our franchise, and I appreciated when he left.
Absolutely. I give you that.
No, yeah, they Godspeed to him. Congrats on a good career.
Absolutely. And he's leaving with his health. He's not banged up. He's not like, in a situation where he can't go off and do other things. I mean, granted, he has been injured.
Well, of course. And anybody playing the game.
You're going to be injured. But, he hung it up on his terms is what I'm trying to say, basically.
Right. No, for sure.
Right.
I mean, which is good because not everybody can say the same.
No, not at all. Not at all.
All right. So let's get into the Washington Redskins.
Skins.
Yeah, man, look. I was on Twitter the other day and I saw everything was like blown up, all the stuff with Colt McCoy. Mm-hmm. So I just kept seeing his name coming across the hashtags and all that other crap. So I started looking into it, and then somebody had posted the video. I guess he was, at what do they call it? The Indy cars or whatever.
Yeah.
NASCAR. Yeah. Well, no. So it was Indy.
Okay.
It was like the IndyCar because he did the drivers.
Oh, okay.
Whatever. And I'm just looking, I said, that man is on crutches. I said, okay, so now I get it why everybody was tripping. Because you remember he broke his leg in a game against y'all.
Yeah, that was a freak accident though. That was like a random shoulder to his leg and it snapped and yeah.
That was like all of 3 minutes after Alex Smith broke his leg. But,
right.
But yeah, so then, Jay Gruden and everybody was at press conferences thereafter.
Yes, sir.
Oh, it's this, it's that. He'll have his procedure right away. Because we were still, oddly enough, and as funny as it is now, essentially in contention to make a playoff push.
Yeah.
So they were saying, okay, well, he'll essentially be healthy enough to come back and play in that last game of the season if needed, and or should we have made it in the playoffs. So anyway, so we're thinking like, okay. They were reporting him running. He was doing this. He was doing that. And then to see him in crutches. Now, the first thing I thought, honestly, was, okay, he had a cleanup procedure.
Right.
Which we all know is that covers the sport and follows it and all that stuff. Like you hear about all the time, whether it's guys with ACLs, they'll go back in, get stuff cleaned up.
Yeah.
Them tearing something or breaking something is not like you and I.
Not at all. Best doctors in the world.
Right. Overly cautious.
Yes.
So anyway, so that was the first thing I thought, but I got a kick out of reading all the comments and all this stuff. People are like, oh, that's why they went out and got Case Keenum and, this and that, da-da-da-da-da. And then one of the Redskins beat reporters, I believe it was, I can't remember, so I won't say the name, but they had said, essentially, the Redskins have more quarterbacks on the roster on crutches than they don't. So you got Alex Smith, and Colt McCoy, and then there's Case Keenum. Yeah. And so I was like, oh man. But again, I got a kick out of listening to all that stuff. So right now is going. Let's see. In Phoenix is the league like spring meetings or whatever. So all the owners and coaches and all that stuff. So. They had asked Jay Gruden about like the quarterback stuff because obviously we definitely need one of those guys. So they had asked him, and he was essentially saying, we're looking at all the positions, this and that. Not really essentially like tipping his hand and and they getting into like other questions about like the roster and players, draft needs, the whole need, and again, he just gave the standard answer of, I'm just going to coach whoever's on the roster, blah, blah, blah.
Like you should.
Right. So, I mean, other than that, I mean, Skins, it's kind of been quiet on the home front, if you will. Obviously, like I said, we signed Landon Collins. He's not going to wear 21. Thank God. Don't put that pressure on yourself. Right. Apparently, he's going to wear 36. Okay. Which is Sean's other number.
Right. And I was going to talk to you about that because it's one of those things where, okay, if the fan base and the family is like, well, we only want you to wear 21. He also wore other numbers. And I like the idea that he's going to honor him in a different number. Right. Not necessarily the one that he used with the Redskins, but, he was really a huge Sean Taylor fan. So I totally... Kudos to him. I hope he plays well. Just not against us.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Yeah. So apparently he'll wear 36. I haven't
good for him
followed back up on it to confirm that that's the number, but there was an event at Redskins Park.
Nice.
And I saw it on Twitter. That's why I call my hot sheets. That's where I get a lot of stuff.
Right.
But yeah, so this guy had posted a picture that Landon Collins, took like with his kid, signed his ball, and it said Landon Collins is at 36 on the ball. So I'm thinking like, okay, well that's a done deal. But again,
done deal
for him, for the organization, for the players that played with Sean and all that stuff. Clinton Portis actually had a pretty good breakdown of it and why he said, essentially, hell no, like he shouldn't wear 21. And he wasn't sliding Landon Collins, but he was just saying like, why do that to yourself?
Right.
You just put that pressure on him because the first time he gets torched or
he
misses
burned.
a tackle or, something, whatever.
Or for his neck.
Or, I mean, he could be playing decent. The Skins are 0-3, whatever, say we're, 1-4 or 1-3 through the first four. Then starts this, people's
all the chatter
will be running and they're like, oh, he's disrespecting 21, da 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 da.
Right.
So CP made a good comment. He was like, why doesn't the Redskins just actually officially retire the number? Because they don't do that for some reason. I don't know why. But so moving on from that, like I said, I'm just happy Landon Collins won't be wearing 21. I'm happy for him. I don't care. I'm cool with it.
He's a vet. He's a good locker room guy. He's definitely going to do his thing.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
So I mean, other than that, I've been kind of diving into like Redskins need, and obviously it's well documented. Receiver, we definitely need that. I would say quarterback number one. You cannot go into training camp with just those two.
Right.
Those two meaning Case Keenum and Colt McCoy.
Right.
Colt McCoy will be ready. Colt McCoy will be ready.
Right.
So everybody can relax.
He's going to be fine.
He'll be fine. Now, once the season starts, he will not be fine.
Right.
His track record is proven. And again, bless his heart. I mean, he goes out there. I mean, he is Texas football through and through. Having said that, with him and Keenum, they need somebody else. Whether, we hear the reports, okay, Skins are in, they're going to trade for Rosen, whatever, assuming Arizona takes Kyler at number one.
Right.
I don't know. They were recently linked to Haskins. But these national guys that cover the NFL, they're always so quick to say, well, Washington is linked to so-and-so and da-da-da, because people leak that crap. Right. Because back in the day, Washington, everybody knew, okay, well, if you want a payday, go to D.C. Man, Snyder and Bruce Allen have essentially been out of that game for years. Right. So why they keep doing that, I don't know. Now, I do think, they're going to have to do something to address the quarterback position. I still think we need another safety. Maybe they feel good about rolling with, what's the dude? Is it Nicholson? Monte Nicholson?
I think so, yeah.
He got himself arrested. Again, I think I touched on that in the first podcast. So again, their safety. That's not my biggest concern. Again, quarterback, wide receiver. I'm cool with going out and getting an offensive lineman. Trent's getting older. We had, again, a bazillion line combinations last year with injuries and stuff like that. So I'm cool with that. Edge rusher. Yeah.
There's a lot of them in the draft.
Oh, yeah.
We're loaded.
Oh, yeah. Again, I'm not too concerned essentially with corner. The reason I say that is I listen to Santana Moss. Everybody knows who Santana is.
You gotta listen to Santana Moss.
Santana, man. He and I have been thinking this for years, and I would hear him on some local radio shows. Now him and Travis Thomas have their own podcast. Shout out to them. Yeah. But Santana always says you build your offense and defense with the big guys, like up front. Oh, so essentially, if your front seven is legit, you and I could be corners. Yeah. It doesn't matter 100% because you're going to disrupt the timing of the quarterback. You're going to throw him off. You're not giving him that time to just stand back there and be a statue and throw the ball around. Right. So that's what I'm saying. Obviously, we'll have enough, DBs to fill the roster. Josh Norman, is he worth all the big money right now? No, but he's not going to restructure his deal. No. Whatever. Okay. Keep him. Which that is one thing I did hear, that some people within the organization are kind of growing tired of Josh Norman being essentially Josh Norman.
Yeah.
And they want to move on from him. Obviously, you can save a ton of money if you release him. Well, I don't know about a ton because I don't know what his cap hit would be. Mm-hmm. But either way,
look that up.
I say, okay, roll with him. That's fine.
Right.
Again, we still have, we have enough to fill out the roster. So getting back to what I think is a need. So there's quarterback, wide receiver, offensive line, tight end. Man, there's some good tight ends coming out. Jordan Reed obviously is hurt. Yeah. I think when it's all said and done, they'll get rid of Vernon Davis.
I like him though.
I know.
He's just old.
Yeah. Old faithful. But it's funny that he's old.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm 33 and I think he's like 36 or something like that. So,
but also look at guys like Antonio Gates. That man's like what? 39, 40, like between 39 and like 43. Dude's still catching balls like it's nothing.
Right. I mean, he's got to be at least 100.
Something like that.
I think I was 6 when he came in. No.
But yeah, I totally agree with the whole tight end situation.
But yeah, I mean, as far as like I said though, but if they are going to stick to defense, which I mean, we're going to need playmakers. But again, you go with defense. I'm cool beefing up the defensive line. Right. We already have a good nucleus, good young core with the guys that we have, but I'm fine with that. But again, edge rusher, Preston Smith is gone. You got Kerrigan on one side. Right. I don't know if they're going to try to slide Ryan Anderson over. Okay. You know what I mean?
I get that.
But yeah, so hey, let's get into them Dallas Cowboys and what they got going on.
Man, let's talk about this dumpster fire. That's the Dallas Cowboys. When I say dumpster fire, I mean, here's how I'm going to look at it. So they gave up, let's start off with the Amari Cooper trade. They gave up a first rounder for Amari Cooper. Some may agree, some may not agree. As of right now, I can't disagree with that move because they did end up in the playoffs and he did make plays for them.
Right.
But on the back end, their issue is they don't have a first round pick right now. So they actually pick after us at 58, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So, and before that, we actually have 2 second round picks. We have picked 53 and 57. So they're literally they're sitting behind so many people. So what are you essentially going to get? Obviously, they're going to have to go to the defensive end, which gets me to my next point of my dumpster fire argument. What's up with their culture and people either getting caught for, abusing or being fined or suspended for the substance abuse policy of just smoking weed or just going out and doing dumb stuff.
Right.
Like, I don't understand what goes on inside of that culture to where everybody that goes to Dallas think they can get away with anything.
Man, but it's been that way
forever
since I was a kid.
Man, check this out. We let go of Nolan Carroll a few years back. This dude gets out there to a party to celebrate the fact that they signed Nolan Carroll. He gets pulled over for a suspected DWI that same week. And it's one of those things where it's like, what are you going to do as an organization to keep your players on the field? Which leads me into my next point. Randy Gregory, this guy is suspended. You know what I'm saying? And I'm pretty sure it's for the substance abuse issue with the weed and everything.
Right.
And I looked up a stat on, I'm pretty sure it was SI.com, where he's been suspended for more games than he's played. He's been suspended for 30 games. He's played 28. I'm going to say it one more time. He's been suspended for 30, but he's played 28. That's just one guy. And then you get into most recently, David Irving. This guy, once again, suspended for weed, and it allegedly, that in his conversations with Jason Garrett basically said, if you want to go ahead and smoke the ganj, you can go ahead and quit. But in my head, with this whole weed situation, for me, it's the conversation is honestly just making hundreds of millions of dollars,
right,
or smoking weed. I'm gonna make hundreds of millions of dollars while I can. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's that hard of a choice. I mean, you do what you want, whatever. When you leave, I don't agree with it, but it's one of those things where you're here to do a job. I mean, you have teammates. There's a little bit of accountability there. Actually, in my opinion, a whole lot of accountability there.
Right.
What do you say to your teammates, especially on the defensive side, that, I was suspended again. I got caught with this. I got caught with that.
Mm-hmm.
Over some nut stuff.
Right.
There's David Irving. And then, and in retrospect with all that, they had to franchise D-Law, and DeMarcus Lawrence is like, dude, don't franchise me. I need my money. So this guy's even talking about sitting out. Like, I need my cash. I don't want that franchise tag. Right. So you're left with essentially D-Law and Taco Charlton. Let me talk about this dude, Taco. He was a first round pick, supposed to be a stud, 4 sacks in 3 seasons. I'm going to say 4 sacks in 3 seasons. Talk about a bust.
Right.
You got to do something. And I honestly think, if something was going to blow up on that defensive line, it had to be this year, because this draft is full of defensive linemen and defensive players. So that's it's one of those things where I think they're still gonna work out to be okay, but their biggest issue right now, in my opinion, is that defensive line. Because I tell you what, if you think for a second that nobody on, as far as right now, just getting their preseason, schemes and things together, and looking at the Cowboys, especially in our division in the NFC East, if you honestly think we aren't scheming to put run games together, just run it down our throats right now, 100%. We got to do that, because as of right now, there's nobody that scares us. I mean, as far as their front, they still have, Vander Esch. They still have Sean Lee there, but at the same time,
wait. Part-time
Sean Lee. Yeah, he's only good for 6 games. But, it's one of those things where there's just so much going wrong with not just their defense, but the culture. And then on top of that, granted, they still, I'm pretty sure they'll have around like $20 million in cap space. But this leads me to my next point. They have to pay Ezekiel Elliott.
Yep.
And Dak Prescott. And I tell you what, Dak Prescott, he's on the record for saying, I'm not taking a pay cut. Right. I want what that guy's getting.
Right.
I need that 45 guaranteed. I need that 50. I need that 60 mil guaranteed. I'm not taking a pay cut. And in my opinion, if the Cowboys were smart, they would pay Zeke and franchise Dak that 5th year. That's what I would do. Because at the end of the day, who's your workhorse? Who's the one that's opening up your offense? It's Ezekiel Elliott.
Well, here's the thing with that though, because I think we were talking about it.
We were talking about it a little bit. Right.
So now if you go and you pay Zeke, it'll be, I don't know that it'll be smart to franchise Dak.
Right.
Because, whatever that is, it was like 20 something million.
20, 25.
And that's a straight cap hit.
That's a straight cap. That's true.
So
I get that.
My thing is, obviously you got to, what is it? Are they both playing the last year of their deal?
This is the last year of their deal, yes.
So
this is year 4.
So Zeke was first round pick.
Pick.
So they should be able to exercise a 5th year option.
Yes,
so they
should
essentially kick the can down the road for him. And they got to figure it out with Dak. Now you could do one of two things. Okay, you really look at it this year and see what they do, where they go. So they made the playoffs last year. Made a little bit of noise, whatever. So you see what he does this year. If you're not scared or you feel comfortable enough that, okay, he could test free agency and come back, then so be it. You can always transition tag him. And, so I think how that works, and everybody listen, I'm no cap guru. I don't pretend to be nothing.
Right.
But I believe if they transition tag him, he can still go out, get another deal.
But they have the option to match it.
They have the option to match it.
That's
then
true.
If not, then he can go.
Right.
But essentially, let him go.
I honestly,
sorry to cut you off.
You're good.
For the sake of our division, sign his ass.
Know what? I didn't even think about that angle. You know what? Go ahead, sign his ass. Sign that man. Sign his ass. Because it's one of those things where I don't want them to get a quarterback, but I was trying to think from their perspective a little bit, because I don't know. I just think he's benefited from an offensive line. He's benefited from decent receivers, and to this point, he's benefited from Ezekiel.
From Zeke, yeah. He's a beast.
You can stick Joe Schmo back there that can, throw a decent ball, and he's going to be fine. I just don't think long term Dak is the answer.
I don't either.
I just don't think he's that guy, and I think they need to move on from him sooner rather than later. Or based on this year, if he shows up or not. But honestly, I think they need to move on from him. And ultimately,
we need to move on from them too.
Yeah, you just gotta pay somebody, and there's a lot of guys that you gotta pay. And in my personal opinion, still, I think I would pay Zeke before I would pay him. And then on a positive side, a slight positive side, they did go ahead and sign Randall Cobb from the Green Bay Packers.
Packers,
But why did I say it like that? Because Randall Cobb has been missing for the past 3 seasons.
Right.
I mean, granted, he has had, I guess you can call him okay numbers for his, I think he's like 28 at this stage in his career, but are they really okay numbers? Because you got to think about it. This dude's quarterback for his career was who? Aaron Rodgers, right? Aaron Rodgers, the definition of what you would look for in a solid quarterback year in and year out.
Right.
But what do his numbers look like? Sub 700 yards receiving seasons for 3 consecutive seasons.
Right.
You know, and there's this going, and I'm not going to claim this quote at all. I'm not going to claim this at all, but everybody's saying like, this is like going from a Ferrari to a Honda Civic.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You had Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
And now you have Dak Prescott.
Right.
And Cowboys Nation's like, from what I hear from my friends, they're losing their minds. Like, oh, we got Randall Cobb. We got another receiver. We're going to be good. I'm like,
yeah,
he was decent and okay, I guess, within the past 3 years with Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
What do you think is going to... I think he's going to be okay, but I don't think he's going to be Randall Cobb like they're looking at like Randall Cobb.
Oh, yeah,
I think they're going to get 2019, 2020 Randall Cobb, not like 2013, 2014 Randall Cobb.
Well, see, so how I kind of look at that is it's just how like they did what the Redskins used to do, sign these old players, fan base is all excited because you remember back when they were shutting everything down. You know what I mean? They were at the top of the game.
Yes, sir.
Nostalgia. Right. So I'm overall, whatever. You know, that's what they want to do. It doesn't matter because the thing is, they're going to feature Amari Cooper.
Right.
He's a true one, in my opinion.
Yes, he is.
Jason Witten is coming back, so you know they're going to force feed him. But essentially, if you look at it, right, you have a good number one. You have
Zeke Elliott.
You have Zeke, and then you still have Jason Witten.
Say it with a straight face.
He will do probably nothing against the rest of the league.
Right.
He's going to torch us. He always finds a way to get it in on the Skins. Now, I mean, we have a better defense and all that.
Your defense, I mean, like I've always give you credit for your defense. 100%.
So that brings us to the last team in the NFC East, which is the Giants. It's not a whole lot going on there. I mean,
well, a whole lot of bad.
Well, right. But as far as news, they were breaking down or just kind of like talking about what essentially effects of Odell leaving. What is that going to do, for the team or to the franchise?
Right.
I think it's good for, all parties involved. It was time for him to go. I mean, Eli's on his way out, so you don't have a quarterback that's gonna get him the ball,
right?
To let him be him. So then you're gonna have more of the diva antics and all that stuff because So anyway, so there was that. I mean, I didn't take much out of it other than I think it's good for both parties. I do think they will address the quarterback position in the draft.
Yeah.
Me being armchair GM, that's what I'm doing. They've been linked to Haskins as well.
Yeah, I like Haskins. He throws a pretty ball.
Oh yeah,
his footwork's a little suspect, but he'll work on that.
Right.
But that'd be a solid pickup for now.
Yeah. So the thing with that is, so we can get into that. Once, like I said, we're going to try to cover, some of these draft picks and all of that coming up, leading up to the draft. But I will say, so the Giants, they definitely need a quarterback.
Right.
They definitely need wide receivers. In my opinion, more than one. They need to address some of their offensive line issues. And I mean, I would even say tight end, linebacker, I don't know. They are really much like the Redskins where they have holes all over the place.
They do have holes all over the place.
So to me, you figure out, okay, what's your biggest need is QB to me,
right?
For them, because Eli, I mean, this is his last season. I mean, just call it what it is. This is last season. I mean, unless you draft some young stud. I mean, if you're there and you get Haskins or Murray or who the hell ever, and you get them into camp, they pick everything up, and they're rolling, then, you know, hey, sacrifice Eli's feelings, but it's a business and you move on. So that'll be interesting to see, you know, in the next, what are we, probably 4 weeks away?
Next 4 weeks. And then
from the draft.
And it's one of those things. And I feel bad, you know, for the Giants, because I definitely think, you know, the Golden Tate signing was, you know, a sinking ship, you know, trying to save everybody and save, you know, filling seats and stuff like that type of signing, because they signed that man to $38 million. That's a lot. I mean, that's 28 guaranteed, but it's one of those situations where, did you really need to give him all that money?
Right. It's
one of those things where you really got to sit here and really think about David Gettleman, because this guy, the GM, I don't know what he's been. I don't know what this dude's been doing. He's just been making horrible moves. They're in cap hell. They're $33 million in dead money. Like 16 of it's going to Odell. They got to get their lives together. Yeah, it's a mess.
Yeah, I mean, it's a whole lot going on over there. Mm-hmm. So that is the NFC East and what's going on for right now.
Right.
So real quick before we get out of here, Marcus and I were just kind of kicking around just a few names as far as draft prospects are coming up. So
yes, sir.
We were kind of talking about Kyler Murray, DK Metcalf, and what's the other one? Christian Wilkins from Clemson. So,
yes, sir.
So real quick, I'll get into DK Metcalf. I mean, we all know his measurables was like 6'4", 230.
This dude is exactly what you would see if like Calvin Johnson and T.O. like had a baby. Like, this dude is a physical specimen.
Yeah. So, I mean, everybody was hung up on the stuff with the combine, the 3-cone drill, and you know, his foot slipped and this and that. So to me, that comes down as a technique issue. Whether that can be worked on or not, I don't know. That's going to be based on him.
Right.
I think he has a lot of raw talent.
He has a lot of raw talent.
Given his size, I think people immediately think like, okay, well, and Woody were in 4.33. So the dude's got speed. Now, watching him play, I didn't feel like he played as fast as his 40 time.
He does not.
Which is not uncommon. No, like, you see that, but I'm looking at his play speed, right?
Right.
He's strong. Mm-hmm. And watching him like get off the line in press coverage,
right,
almost kind of reminded me of Michael Irvin back in the day.
Right.
But he doesn't. DK Metcalf doesn't have that footwork and technique to get off the line the way.
That's crazy that you said that, because that's exactly what I was going to say. You know who reminds me of more than anybody?
Who?
Des Bryant. Because he was one of those guys that relied on their physical ability, but didn't do their homework when it came to footwork, didn't do their homework when it came to how to look the ball into your hands and things like that. Don't get me wrong. This guy can make one-handed catches. Mm-hmm. But what's the biggest knock on this guy? There's just too many drops.
Yeah, there's drops. I think he runs a very limited route tree.
100%.
Right. So like I was talking with my friend Mario, and he was saying that because, you know, everybody, again, they see him. He's like an Adonis. Like, he's a physical specimen.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you're just like, wow. Okay. and then, you know, he rips off that 40 time. So you're thinking like,
this dude's a monster.
Yeah. Why wasn't he the true number one? Why wasn't he featured down in Ole Miss?
There you go.
There's a reason.
There's a reason.
So, like I said, you know, I spent some time, pretty much like everybody else, watching the highlights and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. So I was looking at, again, how he gets off the ball, how he lines up, his footwork,
right?
You know, how he fights through some of that stuff. Now, he won a lot of those jump balls, those 50-50 situations.
Yes, sir.
If you want to be, you know, more than that, you got to do more than that.
You got to do more than that.
So, like I said, it almost seems like he just pretty much was running go routes. It was just backyard football. You're big, you're strong, go get open.
Right.
Okay, so that's cool with some schools. Somebody's going to shut you down.
Absolutely.
Then you come in the league, somebody's going to shut you down.
Right.
He'll still get essentially, you know, stronger as he gets older, gets in the league, pro training,
right,
all that stuff. But again, so you covered, I covered it. Like I said, footwork, technique. He does need to work on his hands, but like you said, I mean, he's had some pretty catches,
crazy catches,
jumping up one hand, the whole nine. You know, but
he's got to get some of the technique down.
Overall, I mean, I would take him late second.
Yes,
at the very earliest. That's just me.
Yeah.
because there's other wideouts that I think will be essentially more serviceable. Hell, there's some tight ends I would take over him.
Yeah.
So let's get into Kyler Murray. Everybody, he's the flavor of the week. He's the hot, new sports car.
Yeah.
Everybody's breaking him down. They were freaking out. They saw him at the combine. Oh, well, no, he measured this, he measured that, his hands and this and that, because he was too small. He didn't weigh enough. His hands were too little and all that stuff. To me, I don't care about his size. That's fine. Obviously, he's going to be compared to the Drew Brees,
the Russell Wilsons. Yes,
now,
sir.
watching him, and I'll let you get more into this, but watching him in game, right?
And you know what? I think the biggest thing right now, everybody watches the combine, looks for measurables and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But for me, my bigger testament to how good a player is going to be is when they face top tier talent in college.
Yeah.
When they play the Alabamas, when they play the Clemsons and the LSUs and things like that. That's where you're actually going to see if he's going to work out or not.
Right.
This guy, I don't think he gets enough credit for how smart he is.
No,
I think he's literally one of the smartest quarterbacks in the draft right now, by far. On top of that, he's very mobile. He's fast. He throws a very pretty ball. And I think that
it's effortless too.
It's effortless. It's a flick of the wrist. This guy throws a gorgeous ball. He's like Russell Wilson. He's a Russell Wilson with more arm talent, in my opinion. He has crazy accuracy and touch on the ball. Mm-hmm. But I think overall, his issue, unfortunately, is the fact that he's such a small guy, and if you're gonna draft him, you need to protect him, because he's one of those guys where you don't want him getting hit a lot, and he's gonna have a short career. But if you can protect him, you guys are getting a gem.
Well, so my only thing with that, largely, I think you're right, because that'd be any quarterback, straight up and down. Mm-hmm. Like, you got to protect him,
right?
But he is so shifty and
this dude
and
is
mobile,
quick
and elusive.
Quick.
Now you'll get some who are just lazy and will say, "Oh, he's a running quarterback. He's this, he's that." No, he is a quarterback that happens to be athletic.
Right.
He will stand in the pocket.
Right.
Now, the one thing I did see, and I don't know if it's just being young, because we see it quite a bit, but he tends to stare the receivers down.
Yeah.
So he gets away with it with the RPOs
now,
because as soon as he leans in to fake the handoff or whatever, you got the defense biting on that. And so in that split second, if you have a DB or a safety looking in the backfield, they see the handoff, they're crashing down.
Right.
His tight end, his receiver,
they're gone.
They slip. But even when he just is in shotgun or under center, whatever, and he drops back, like, he does tend to stare down his receiver.
He's got to work on that.
Yeah, I mean, you have QBs in the league now doing that. So again, him being smart enough, he will learn obviously the tempo of the game,
right,
and just how fast it is, and he will see just how good those DBs are and those safeties are,
right,
and their closing speed and all that. But yeah, overall, I mean, he has an extremely high ceiling.
Extremely high ceiling.
It's a gamble, it's a risk, but it's that way with anybody. So again, I don't let the size scare me. If he fits what I do, or I can do what suits him,
get him.
Then you go out and you get him. Ultimately, you make the decision. If that's your guy, that's your guy. You go get him. You don't worry about it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And my last point is that I don't buy this thing about him not being a leader or hasn't proven it yet. This dude was the quarterback of a great football team. I don't buy that for a second. To be a quarterback of any college football team, one of those top squads in the NCAA, you have to be a leader. You can't sit back and be quiet. I think out in public, he may be more of a quiet guy, but in that locker room, I'm guaranteeing he's barking, he's yelling, he's snapping, he's doing what he needs to do to get his guys riled and ready to play that football game. So,
well, I mean, maybe not every quote unquote leader is the rah guy. Again, we're not in the locker room. We don't know. All reports coming out of the locker room is he's well liked.
Right.
All that stuff. Yeah. He essentially seems to be, put himself away from the media, all that stuff.
Which I think is very smart.
Yeah. So what?
Because you don't being caught in the nonsense.
Well, and because of this 24-hour access now with the social medias and instant this and that and all that stuff, we do get like this behind the scenes access to so many people that it's almost like a given. You know what I mean? Like, well, why doesn't he want to talk to the media? I deserved it. Well, you don't deserve shit. Like, it's him.
Yeah.
It's his life, however he wants to do it. And people were jumping on him because of that bad interview that he had. And, you know, he was looking to his dad for answers and this and that. And he just was very, well, I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I'm going to play baseball. I'm going to play football. Oh, no, whatever. Who cares? Like, here we are. He committed. He went to the combine. He
wants to play football.
Pro day was good.
Yeah.
Look, good. Somebody's going to get him. Ultimately, you put him in a good system. You protect him. I think he's going to be fine.
Right.
So let's get into Wilkins.
Christian Wilkins from Clemson. This guy is 6'3", 315-pound beast. This guy is a monster. Unfortunately, he did not play in the national championship due to issues with PED use and things of that nature. But from what I hear, you know, overall, when it comes to this guy, he's a leader. He's one of those guys that, you know, that rallies everybody on the defensive line. He makes plays. He is a force. This guy he has crazy off the ball quickness. He has legit reaction time. From the games that I've seen, you know, where he's playing like legit talent once again, he's a man among boys. He can push people around.
He's strong.
He does command double teams.
Oh yeah.
But with that being said, he does have issues with offensive linemen that have more length than him. He does have issues sometimes with, you know, fighting through double teams. But overall, if I had the choice, if he was sitting there, second round, and he falls to us, I'm taking him. This guy is definitely a guy you want to have on your team. He is a force. This guy is a problem. He eats people.
Yeah, and same thing with him. And I was watching a little tape on him. Yeah, I mean, shooting the gaps. He's for his size, he's quick. Right. He gets in the backfield. He's got a knack to chase down the ball carrier. I would say,
absolutely.
Because you see strip sacks, you see him snatch up running backs trying to come out of the backfield.
Snatch up quarterbacks.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, overall, I would kind of grade him out where you had him.
Yeah.
I think there's some other players you can get better value. You know, for a higher pick.
Yeah.
But so those are the three that we broke down. Tune in next week and we'll give you three more. So hey, check us out. Go to YouTube. Go to our website, averagesportsguys.com. But go to YouTube, subscribe, like, leave a comment.
Yes, sir.
Same thing with Twitter, Facebook, whatever. So hey, we got to get out of here. I'm Eddie.
This is Marcus.
And we're the Average Sports Guys.
Yeah.